What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, for listening. However, you are consuming this podcast. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Big shout out to our sponsor for today's show, the law office of William Mattar. Heard in a car, call William Mattar, 444-4444. Call William Mattar today to get the compensation that you deserve. This is our Monday podcast. On the video side, we are live here shortly after 9 p.m. The Buffalo Sabres are actually in action right now as we are recording this podcast. I'm joined, well, actually, I was going to say as always, but not always, because last week we didn't have a show here on Sunday night. But he's back today. Joe from Queens. What's going on, man? Besides, what are you trying to get the Sabres game on your phone right now and ignore me? He's mad. Joe's mad at me for doing this during the game.
Yeah, basically that's what I'm trying to do. But I might give up to watch it. I don't know why we're doing it tonight at this time. I wanted to wait until later to get the rub from the Sabres game ending. But you had to go in business for yourself and be like, no, I have to go to bed tomorrow. I'm hungover. I gotta listen to Dracula Fairburn tomorrow morning when he drops his 4 a.m. podcast. By the way, put me on a full screen so I can talk about my beer, by the way. Full screen. Yeah, thank God. We need to put more full screen. So this is the beer of the day, people. This is Daredevil, Devil You Know, American IPA from KCBC. Yeah, it's very dope. So everyone, I'm a big Daredevil fan. Like, I like the series. There's the original series, which was on Netflix, and now it's on Disney Plus. I really have enjoyed it. And KCBC is a great brewery. They're based in, I think it's Brooklyn, Queens area, right on the border. But you could probably find their beer in Buffalo or anywhere. But this one's special, and you can actually order this online, and you can get it delivered to anywhere in New York State. But it is 8%, which I know is the only thing Pat ever cares about. And it has it's a malted barley flavor. And it also it tastes kind of like, it has a little bit of a Pilsner taste to it.
I like Pilsner.
A little bit of that. It feels, so it's not too hazily, but it's very good. It's definitely different. And I enjoy it. And there's the can again. It's a very cool can. And like I said, you guys can order it. You guys know I know my beers, so, I enjoyed it. But anyways, it's good to hear from you. I missed you last week. Kind of a little bit.
Florida was fun. Florida was fun for the most part. A couple things went wrong in regards directly to this podcast. By the way, real quick, because you're having a beer right now, I went out I don't go out usually on Sundays, and I didn't go out and I didn't have any beers today. But I went to Rusty Buffalo in West Seneca. By the way, big shout out, very good friend of mine, Shannon. I was with her today. She made me promise her to give a shout out on the show. So big shout out to my girl, Shannon. Anyway, I go there to get chicken fingers. And here's what I've learned about at least me and my friends, and maybe I just have the wrong friends in my life. If you don't want to drink and you live in this town, you might want to either move or, like I said, at the very least, get different friends. I got chicken fingers and a Diet Coke, right? And I'm telling you right now, you would have thought that I fucking killed somebody. The looks that I was getting because I didn't want to drink. And then my friend George was literally bullying me and peer pressuring me into drinking. And I gave up at some point. And I ended up having, 3 beers, but I only finished 2 of them. But yeah, I was just getting ridiculed mercilessly by supposed friends of mine because I didn't want to drink. Oh, there she is. All right, she did come on. All right, she popped that on the show. My friend Shannon. Excuse me, you had beers today. Yeah, I had 2. I was forced to have 2. I didn't like them. I drank too much yesterday, Saturday. Big night out for your boy. Hit up margaritas, Transit Music Lounge. Had a lot of fun this weekend with some friends.
Did you drop the podcast to the bartender? Like, yo, I have a podcast. You want to be a sponsor? Come on, I'm sure that's how a lot of people do it. I mean, you could have been that you could do a remote there with your folks and all that sort of stuff. Anyways,
it's good to be back from Florida. I had a good time in Florida, but if people watch the show late in the week, I recorded an hour and 10-minute solo episode, and I was
Uh-huh.
on my old laptop, equipment or equipment I haven't used yet, and it sucked. Long
Yep.
story short, it never recorded. Like the video showed up, but it was muted the whole episode, so it was complete trash and useless. So I was supposed to hook up with you once, but then I got traveling issues. Our flights got all grounded because of the weather, so
Hmm.
didn't end up being able to do that. Anyway, whatever. Back here, I'll tell you this, and it kind of leads into we're gonna talk today. We're gonna use some wrestling analogies and tie it into the Buffalo Bills. Joe, as much as I hate to give him credit for anything, last week wrote a really, really good piece in his Joe from
Thank
Queens
you.
blog. It was solid. It was called the Josh Allen rub. We're going to talk about what the Josh Allen rub is today. We're going to talk about go away heat for Brandon Beane. You got some thoughts on free agency so far. I got some thoughts. I don't know that they align, and alignment is a word that we're hearing a lot already with Brady and Brandon Beane. So we're going to talk about that. But I actually want to start real quick with the Sabres. And again, we are recording this during the game. It's 2-2 at the beginning of the second period. So I hit on this a little bit on the show Friday, being in Florida for the first time ever, and I lived there for 5 years. More people, friends of mine that I made down there, people who I talk sports with, wanted to talk about the Sabres and the Bills. And I've never
Mm.
experienced that before. Like people talking about how good the Sabres are playing. A lot of Go Sabres. I had Sabres gear on a lot when I was in Florida. And then this Saturday, I was at Imperial Pizza, and I tweeted this out, dude. I don't think in 20 years, it's probably been 20 years since I've seen more Sabres gear at a bar than I saw this past Saturday. Like everybody in the restaurant, everybody in the bar had Sabres shit on. Sabres hoodies, jerseys, t-shirts, hats, whatever. I know you're still, you're far away of sorts. You're in New York City, but dude, the fandom for the Buffalo Sabres is completely back. It has been just it's incredible to see. You know, young people, this is my son. I use him all the time. He's the perfect parameter. He's 23 years old. He was 9 the last time the Sabres made the playoffs. He didn't know shit about hockey. Now he's all in. And for younger generations, this is their first brush with seeing a great hockey team right now. Dude, just speak about the fandom right now. I know you see a lot of it on social media. Your friends want to talk Sabres and shit like that. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, It's one of those things where I talked about this, like being in Queens. Like, you always see people in Bills gear, like constantly, and
Yeah.
like you walk around, and it's like go Bills, etc. Just kind of like a thing. I don't know if I'll ever get to that threshold with the Sabres because they have a lot of work to do and sort of spreading their wings more in like an expat areas and whatnot. Like I only know of like maybe one or two Sabres bars in the city,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure how busy they are, but I'm very envious of what fans are going through. Like the electricity seems pretty big right now there. I'm pissed off that we're doing this podcast while this game's happening. And again, you suck, and I appreciate you
The fact that
being
we even have
annoying.
to debate it, though, Joe, this has never even been a discussion. Should we be on the air while the Sabres are
Yeah.
playing? It's always been an easy no, but right now we are, and it was
But yeah, I
difficult.
mean, it's great, and look, everyone deserves it. Like, jump on the bandwagon. I mean, the amount of, I don't know. God bless anyone who watched that team. I remember last year. I think it was you had a controversial tweet where you said something along the lines of like, I don't know how anyone can watch this unless you're like a media person. You kind of diss people for watching it.
Yeah,
I
I,
forgot what
I,
it
I
was,
went at it with fans.
and people were annoyed at you, and like we've come a long way since then. And even like the start of the season, like the thing I remember about that horrible stretch of like the beginning part was, Josh Norris getting hurt on a face-off where he just fell to the ground and he's out for like indefinite. And I'm like, well, that's this, and I think that might have been the opener, or maybe I'm not sure when it was, but I was like, well, here we go,
It
like
was. Yeah.
it's going to be another disastrous season. And last night I went to a bar with a friend of mine, my friend Paul, who lives on the street. He's a huge hockey fan, like he's a Rangers fan, but he knows everything, like knows a lot about every hockey player. You can just be like, what about this guy? He knows who he is, like a savant. And we went to a bar, and sadly the bar didn't have the Sabres game, even though they told us they had ESPN Plus, which I guess there's a couple different versions of that. But we watched it. We watched it on my phone, and we watched the third period there at the bar while I was drinking a Guinness, and I lucked in there because I saw the last period, which at that because we were busy all day or whatever, and I saw 3 goals, and I was like, sweet, and like that's always the best thing when you are late to a game, and then it's like, okay, it's 1-1, whatever, and then all of a sudden you get to that, you start watching it, and like the third period, and you see 3 goals, you're like, yes. This was great because I didn't have to waste my time in the first or second period to watch it, and now I came in at the proper time. But yeah, look, they look amazing right now, and what they're like 35-5 or some crazy number since December.
They're 32-6-2 and during their 40-game stretch, which, by the way, the 40-game stretch actually is a 41-game stretch because they won on Saturday night. But anyway, what I just said. 32-6-2. It's the best 40-game stretch of any team in the NHL in 30 years. 30 years has been since the team has been better than the Buffalo Sabres these last 40 games, which is literally half of a season, pretty much. Yeah. It's crazy.
And they've been really good. And the deadline, they made some small moves that weren't like, we went through the whole St. Louis Blues, like, with the 2 trades, like the one trade we thought was going to happen and the other one, the guy didn't want to come here. So they get kind of like lesser players. It hasn't been bad. Like Stanley, the first week, he wasn't good. It seemed like it was like, but like they took him off with Shen because they were trying to play Shen a little bit and he was terrible. And he's been better. Carrick is awesome.
5 goals. 5 goals.
5 goals. He had 4 goals this year with the Rangers. He killed Jack Eichel. The fourth line, like, you look, if there's one thing I can tell you about, and look, I'm not the greatest, my hockey acumen isn't as good as it used to be, but I can tell you one thing about Lindy Ruff. He loves rolling 4 lines. That's always been his game plan, and that's what he's doing right now, because the fourth line's been killing it. They're blocking shots. Yeah. They're getting goals. They're good in their own zone. That's what Lindy Ruff wants. He doesn't want to roll 2 lines and 3 lines and call it a day. He wants to roll everyone. And they've been great. The goaltending's been outstanding. I mean, Lyon's going for the record tonight, I think, against Anaheim. If he wins tonight, he ties the most road wins consecutively in NHL history, or something crazy like that. So, they're incredible right now, and I wish I was there, to enjoy this in the summer or the spring coming up, because playoff hockey, dude, they've been waiting. I mean, at some point I'm going to be writing a column kind of like comparing the end of the droughts for the Bills and the Sabres. I already have it written, and I'm just kind of waiting for them to get closer. But, I honestly wonder like who was hungrier, like Bills fans or Sabres fans at this juncture. You know what I mean? 14 years versus 17 years or whatever it is. Like, the one thing you'll say was Bills fans were always loyal to a fault. Like, they still support that stupid team, and they even, they didn't go to like the late December game or whatever, you can get free tickets, but they always supported it. With the Sabres, the fans were like, F this shit, like, we're out. Like, that arena was empty like 2 years ago, or you're getting $2 tickets and stuff like that, and now they're electric, and winning cures a lot of things sometimes, man, and that's where we're at right now, and they look good, and everything's humming. I think the only worry I have is, like, on the ice stuff is, like, what are you going to do at goalie? Like, are you going to still do your rotational thing, or are you going to ride a hot hand? And who's your your third defensive pairing? Because that's a little bit wonky as of now. But, it's been fun, and I've enjoyed it, and I think you might have to make amends to Tone Pucks and bring him back into the fold, because you can't steal. I know you only steal your hockey takes from Dracula Fairburn, Yurden, Prospect Profit Baker. You can't steal takes from Chad Dominicis because you can't read his charts. You have no idea what his charts mean.
I don't even know what his charts mean.
Exactly. So you can't steal shit from him. So, like, you have to, you might have to bring Mr. Pucks back at some point. You may have to just look. It might have to be like a, I'm trying to think of the Bills, like an analogy, like people, like, if the Bills brought back Diggs, it's like, okay, well, I guess we got to make amends to Diggs. But anyways, I
no. So a couple things there. Number one, when you said sometimes, like, when a team's playing well, like, you wish you could be here. That's how I felt when I lived in Florida, man. I loved living in Florida. I've said it a million times. Florida's awesome. There's a big part of me that wishes I still did live there. But what I missed the most was Buffalo Bills football during the season, being in Buffalo. This is once the Bills got good, like 2019, 2020, when Josh Allen really hit that stride. I hated not being in Buffalo, during the season where it just meant so much to the fans. I kind of feel like that's what it's like right now with Sabre fans. These games, again, dude, I was at Imperial Pizza on a Saturday afternoon, and that place is always popping. I mean, it's good.
Sure.
But it was just a different level. People were there to watch a Saturday afternoon hockey game in Sabres gear, and they were going absolutely crazy when the Sabres scored. And to your other point about fans jumping on or off or getting on a bandwagon, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of bothering me because that's kind of been, like, if there's one downside at all of the Sabres being as good as they are right now, which, by the way, they are losing 3-2 as we're fucking talking about them here in the second period. But anyway, a lot of people are like, oh, if you weren't there then, why you don't get to come back now? Like, fuck you. That's not the case.
I don't know who's doing that besides.
I've seen plenty of it. I'm gatekeeping.
I don't believe
gatekeeping fans.
I don't
fans,
believe,
dude.
Okay,
there are.
Whatever.
And I'm just telling you. Let me read what I tweeted out today because I think this was a good tweet. I said, fans jumping on the bandwagon. 14 years is a long time of not just on ice futility, but being a horribly run organization. It rightfully turned into a lot of fans rightfully saying, wake me up when the hockey's fun again, when they're good again. I don't, now they are. They're good and it's fun. And they're back. I'm back. I don't got no issue with that. I
think those people are just trolling people. I don't know. I don't know any Sabres fan that that has a pulse that feels that way. Like, yeah, sure. Like you'll I'm not an idiot. I know how Twitter works. Like, some asshole with 30 followers is going to want attention, and they're going to say that you can't come on the bandwagon, and then it's going to get quote tweeted by Dwayne or you or every fucking other person and dunk on him. Mafia Matt will dunk on. I've seen this with the Bills. I'm sorry. I don't believe those people are real. I think it's bullshit. They're just trying to troll. But yes, you're right. I will say this on a business side of things. I know you hate talking business about tickets and all that shit. I am curious to see how they do. Look, it's one thing when people are at the bar watching the game. I get it. The Sabres, even when they're shitty, they were always on at the bar at a game in Buffalo, whatever, right at the bar watching it. But I'm curious to see if there's an uptake in tickets for seasons, because the difference between 05, 06 to now, part of the reason why I think 05, 06, 07, they made so much money off that. They sold season tickets. There was a waiting list. Everyone bought jerseys. It was insane. Part of that, in my opinion, was there were so many Sabres. Buffalo was pissed off at the Bills at that point because Tom Donahoe had just wrapped up his I think he had just gotten fired midway through that season. Because 05 was Donahoe's last year here. People hated Donahoe. They hated the Bills at that point. And I think part of that was the Bills' popularity, how they were on the field, started going down. The Sabres started going up. I think more people were interested in buying tickets. Whereas now, you got two teams who, the last time the Bills and Sabres both made the playoffs together was 99. That was the last time that happened. Music City Miracle. Yeah. And when they, they lost to the Flyers in 2000, it was 99-2000 season, whatever. It's been a while. And I wonder how many people have bought PSLs. Bills tickets are not cheap anymore. You got to and it's kind of the worst timing a little bit in a way, because I do wonder if people, spent a ton of money to buy PSLs for seasons and etc. And they're like, man, can I afford Sabres tickets right now? And obviously hockey's different. It's 41 games. You can find 20 people and split it. Hey, you go to 4 games or whatever. You go to 2 games, etc. I'm just curious to see how that works, because all you're hearing about, and I get it, it's the electricity, people at the bar, merchandise, all that sort of stuff. I'm curious how that's going to work out at the box office for next year, because that's what they care about. Because obviously, look, they're going to sell out tickets for the playoff games. I'd be shocked if they didn't. But I'm curious if it's the same resurgence like it was in 05, 06. I'm just curious.
It could be.
I know you don't have, because the economics are very different than at that time period, in my opinion.
Sure. For what it's worth, by the way, my son, I love using him as the hockey barometer just because of his age at 23 years old.
Why don't you steal his takes?
He doesn't really have a lot of hockey takes. He's got a lot of football takes. But here's the thing. He's become a big Sabres fan. And one of the things he's talked to me about recently, he asked me how much season tickets were. I'm like, I don't fucking know how much season tickets are. I don't even go to regular games. But he's interested in getting season tickets, him and his girlfriend. We'll see how that plays out. And then one last thing about the Sabres, too, real quick, because I want to get into Bills talk here. But the difference between, you're right, like the games I've always been on at the bar, even when they fucking stink. The difference is, from what I notice now, the sound is on at these games. Like, stick that jukebox up your ass if somebody wants to put $1 in it or $2, whatever it costs to play a song these days. But now games are on, and you can hear the sound, and people are actually locked in and listening to the game as well as watching them. Oh, by the way, I'm going to pull this up. Roy Collins, 77. Is this true? Pat's favorite words, oh, by the way, can't get to the point without numerous detours. Is that true?
Yeah.
Do I constantly say, by the way, and get off track all the time on the show?
Those are definitely your gimmicks, buddy. Long-winded. Like, I promise you. That's another one you always do. I promise you. You always do the I promise you.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
Promise you. And then when I know you're not listening to me and you're just waiting for me to talk, you go, yeah, that's mostly right, I think. And then you, go and reiterate shit.
I tune
Half the
you
time,
out
I think you
and
got,
just
I think in the back of your head when I'm talking, you have like a song going on, like da 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 da. Hey, it's like in your head. Like there was the Simpsons episode with Homer Simpson had that in his head when someone was talking to him, and that's just you waiting for me to stop. And you're like, okay, hey, I can talk.
All right, now I can talk. Alex Barber in the live chat. What happens if the Sabres win the Cup and the Bills win the Super Bowl in the same year? Pagula gets an airport named after him. Terry Pagula International Airport.
That'd be a terrible name, but yes, you could put Terry into the Hall of Fame of everything. Padhausen.
Padhausen. We're gonna get into some wrestling terms here in a minute.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, it would be crazy if they wanted this. I mean,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question, Joe.
Sure.
Without a deep dive, we'll talk about it another time. I love cutting you off. It's fun. What do you think? Who do you think right now, today, in this moment, is closer to winning a championship? The Sabres winning a Stanley Cup or the Bills winning a Super Bowl? Right now, if I told you, Joe, you can I'll give you $1 million. We'll start a GoFundMe and we'll raise $1 million and it's all yours. If you could predict who's going to win a championship first, the Sabres winning the Cup or the Bills winning the Super Bowl, what would you put that money on? It's crazy that we're even asking. It's crazy that it's tough. Yeah,
I can't answer that because my Sabres knowledge isn't nearly as good as it is for the Bills. That's something you ask Chris Ostrander. Like he would know because he follows both pretty well. I hate to put him over, but I will. But that's who you kind of ask because I can't answer that because I don't know enough about the league or like the Sabres to be honest. But. I'll say this. It's probably what's easier to win. I think that's like the question I would say. It's like what's easier to win? Like if you're in your playoffs, a cup. Like I feel like
you got to win.
I feel like a Stanley Cup. Yeah, but I feel like it might be easier. Like there's always teams that are like the 8th seed or something that get to like close to the finals. You know what I mean? You never have like the 7th seed wild card team in the NFL go to the Super Bowl and win. Whereas I think it does happen a lot in hockey where you just get in, you can be a 7th or 8th seed. I know the playoff format's weird, and you get to the finals. Freaking Florida lost to, a couple years ago, it was before they won the Stanley Cup, but they got to the finals and they were like a wild card team. Like it was kind of shocking. And you can even go to the bubble when they had the games in I know it's different. They had North, that Canada games and American games or something during COVID, and Montreal got to the finals. And Montreal was terrible during that season, so that's part of the thing in terms of that. Ralph Wilson makes a good mention in the comment. The Sabres have a younger roster. That's very true. Like they have a younger roster. They do have more cap flexibility probably than the Bills do. But yeah, it's a good question. But I'm not willing to. Those are things I have on the top of my head. It's like, okay, well, it's easier to get to like the finals for a Stanley Cup than it is, I think, to get to the Super Bowl. But
sure, I mean, you got to win. You got to beat 4 opponents, just like you probably, unless you get a number 1 seed in a bye, where you only have to beat 3 opponents to win a Super Bowl. You got to win but 8-4-2-1. You got to win 4 series. You got to win 16 games in hockey. I can't get over the fact that I could ask a question like that to you, and it's something that actually warrants discussion. Imagine a year or so ago, if we were doing this show and I said, who's closer, the Bills winning a Super Bowl or the Sabres winning a Stanley Cup?
I already told, like, when I come on these podcasts with you, I don't wear Buffalo gear because I try to be objective, unlike you who has a fucking Bills hat on, you fucking shill.
This is more, this is just a straight up Bills hat. I can't even.
Yeah, I don't do that. I come with the wrestling attire. But the point I'm trying to make is I have a lot of Bills hoodies. I have a lot of Bills hats. I have no Sabres hat, which is kind of crazy. Like, I have maybe 2 Sabres hoodies, but I told the missus for Father's Day, I'm like, yo, here are like 3 hats I want from the Sabres. Pick one of them because it's time for the Sabres. And I made that pat like maybe a couple years ago, maybe around 2000, where I was like, you know what? When you're good, I'll buy your stupid fucking gear. And like, if someone wants to gift it to me, sure, I'm not gonna ask for it. And now they're good. It's like, all right, I'm on the bandwagon. Give me some fucking gear.
I just bought a hat last week. Right before I went to Florida, I bought a hat, and I wore it actually in Florida. And again, I got a good amount of Go Sabres. Anyway, all right, let's do this. I got to take a quick break on the video, so I come back. Let's get into some Josh Allen talk here. What is the Josh Allen rub? More on that. Plenty more coming up right after this 5-second break on the video side. All right, I'm back here with Joe from Queens, and you wrote a column for your blog on Substack, which I'll put it up here again on the screen for people watching. If you're listening, it's joefromqueens.substack.com from the listeners out there. But
look at that incredible graphic that you spent no time on, no photo, nothing.
It was better than the other one. It was better than
if I was Mafia Matt, you would have a giant photo of him with a pizza in his mouth and being like, coming up on the podcast next week, Mafia Matt's coming on, and I get a fucking lower third that's like the smallest font ever. Anyways, go ahead. I appreciate you stealing my material now. Go ahead.
I'm not stealing your material.
You're stealing my takes now.
So
go ahead.
I want you to explain for people, non-wrestling fans probably the most. Your piece was titled "The Josh Allen Rub," and in all seriousness, I do suggest you go and check it out. It got a lot of traction last week. Tim Graham gave you a nice shout out and a quote tweet about the article as well. I want you to explain to our listeners and to our viewers what the Josh Allen rub is that you wrote about, and also we'll get to the getaway heat. Again, wrestling fans know what the rub means. They know what go away heat means. But not everybody does. Explain the Josh Allen rub in your own words.
Well, let me just explain what the term rub means in wrestling. So rub can mean, it's basically, in a way, you want to get someone over. And getting someone over means you want them to be cheered by the fans. And you try to have someone, like, attached to him that's, like, successful. So, and then, like, the example will be, like, Hulk Hogan will just say, he'll be pointing to, like, Randy Savage when he's, like, an up-and-coming guy and being like, that's the guy right there. And Hogan's an established guy. He could do no wrong in 1987. And this is the guy, Randy Savage, right here. Oh, boy, he's the guy. He's going to take all the prayers and take the title now. Like, that's him getting the rub. And then you could have it as a bad guy where back in the 80s, you would have, like, Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Slick, whoever, who would be... You have a new wrestler and you want him to be successful as a bad guy. You pair him up with, like, Bobby Heenan because Bobby Heenan was the biggest villain in wrestling. So it's like you could put anyone next to Bobby Heenan, whether he's a shitty wrestler or a good wrestler, and they'll be like, "Ooh, we gotta boo that guy because he's with Bobby Heenan," or whatever the case may be. So that's like what the rub means. It's just like you're trying to accentuate someone else by using someone else who's popular. So if you want to use a football thing, it would be like Josh Allen, which is going to be the Josh Allen rub, is going to make a wide receiver who's kind of mediocre. Josh Allen's going to give him the rub because Josh Allen's going to accentuate that wide receiver and make him better because of how talented he is and how established he is.
Can I just read one quick quote from you in your article and then get right back to explaining it because I thought this one resonated and I agree with you. You said, the thinking seems to be, fans love Josh Allen more than anything. So if Josh is attached to a decision, the fans will go along with it. Let's use the golden boy as our shield. That's what you wrote. All right, go ahead. Continue. I thought that was telling.
Yeah, and that's where it's at. I think, and part of why I wrote this was it was a little bit inspired by Tim Graham's piece, which I know we'll get to in a little bit, because I feel that the Bills, like Josh Allen is Hulk Hogan in Buffalo right now, and this is 1987 Hulk Hogan, or Steve Austin 1997, or Cody Rhodes 2021 22, whatever you want to call it, like that. He's just established. Everyone loves him. He could do no wrong. He's a saint. And I think the Bills know that. And the Bills are trying to attach him to every single thing they do. So fans will be like, oh, he's like, if Josh likes it, sure. Like, Josh Allen's giving them the rub. And the examples I listed were, oh, Josh Allen's going to be in on the interviews with the head coaches. Josh Allen, last year, what's his face? Brandon Beane said, hey, Keon Coleman, like, Josh loves Keon. He was bugging me about it, sending me YouTube videos. Connor McGovern is, like, gets re-signed, and, like, he says, oh, Josh was calling both of us, like, the team and him. And it's like, okay, fine. Like, anything you put Josh Allen attached to, it's going to get over with the fans. Or at least that's what the Bills think. And I think part of that is what they're doing. I don't think Josh Allen, and I used a quote from Tyler Dunn's manifesto. This is from a couple years ago, where Tyler talked about how Josh is not a you need to do it this way kind of guy, or get rid of this guy or I'm leaving kind of thing. He as Ty said, he likes dick jokes and things like that for Josh. He's a big kid. And that's where part of me thinks like maybe the Bills just want him to be a part of it, so fans, he's getting the rub. So Josh Allen being attached to any sort of decision that the Bills make, in their minds, you're not going to boo it because you love Josh Allen too much. And they're just trying to get them over in terms of, as I said, like on the interviews, the Connor McGovern is like getting talked to and all that sort of stuff. There's other things that they've done.
Drafting, for sure.
Drafting, yeah, and here's the thing, like, it could be a couple ways. Like, I said it in the article, like, could Brandon Beane call Josh Allen and go, hey, dude, you want to go on Terry Pagula's private plane and let's go and interview some people? Josh might be like, yeah, sure, I got nothing to do. I'll do it. The season's over, sure. And then, like, same with, like, hey, Josh, what do you think about Keon Coleman? We might pick him tomorrow. What do you think of these wide receivers? That way you can, like, say after the fact, oh, he likes this guy or whatever. Because that's the one guy that they're trying to get over. And that's what the point is. It's this PR.
Do you think he should have that kind of voice?
It really depends. I normally have said yes. You're a star player. You should get that voice. Like, in terms of, I want to play with this guy, or you need to go after this guy, or hire this coach. I'm usually player guy. Like, I'm usually with that. Now, if you're an idiot and you don't know what you're doing, I could have an issue with that. And, I'm trying to, if you want to just, go with the Bills, he loved Ken Dorsey. And Ken Dorsey wasn't terrible. Like, they had a pretty good offense, but it got stagnant very quickly. And Josh wanted Ken Dorsey, and that it didn't work out. So that's like, okay, should he be picking coaches? Because it's like that was his handpicked guy. It didn't really work out. And if you start doing it to where you're attaching him to Keon Coleman, and now it's like you might be thinking to yourself, well, shit, like if he wanted Keon Coleman, he shouldn't be picking wide receivers because Keon Coleman hasn't been good for them. So he can have like carte blanche, and it happens in every, like, look, Aaron Rodgers wants to play with certain people. Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. The Jets end up signing a bunch of ex-Packers. Tom Brady goes to the Buccaneers. They bring in Gronk. They bring in Antonio Brown, guys like he wanted, and it's a part of the game. It's fine, but you better be like, smart in terms of doing that. Like, and I'm fine with him doing that, but he just better be smart with it. Because look, there are situations where it could be a poorly run, like, LeBron James does it all the time. And I remember LeBron James wanted Westbrook, to come to the Lakers, and he was a disaster there. and it sets him back like 2 years because he costs too much money. You know what happens? So
I wonder, and I'm not here to say that I don't think Joe Brady's going to do a good job. We'll find out. I'm not particularly inspired by the hiring. I don't think that would have been my decision if it was up to me. I wonder, and they say he didn't, but I wonder how much pull Josh Allen had, and I wonder what his opinions really were about hiring Joe Brady. I can't imagine Brandon Beane not hiring Joe Brady if it was up to if Josh said, nah, I really don't think that's a great idea, and then they hired him anyway. You know what I mean? I think Josh had plenty of say in who the head coach is.
Yeah, and that's the point of it. Like, does Josh, is he authoritative about it, or is he just like, they ask him, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, I like him, sure. Like, there's differences in, like, I want this guy versus you're going along with the ride. Like, sure, okay, fine. You know, but that's what I think. I think with his rub, like, they just want to attach him to a lot of decisions. Because, look, they are in full PR shoving the Beane and freaking Brady down everyone's throat. And they're using everything under the sun when it comes to social media. Like, you and I talked about this, and like posting photos at like, you know, the NCAA tournament or the Sabres game, and like I'm ready for them to go to like it's like I'm ready for the Perfect Strangers theme song to come on, and they're running through Buffalo together like Balky and Cousin Larry did. You know, for the 5 people who know that show. You know,
I know that show. That was a great fucking show, man.
Dude, the theme song was the best song of all time. Like,
that is funny though.
Tall on the way to my dreams. Rise and fall, yeah.
But it's very obvious to your point that the Bills are in PR mode right now with them two together, and they're also making themselves, you know, available for some of these interviews that we've been reading about Joe Brady. But back to the Josh Allen rub thing.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm with you, and again, to explain for people, it's just getting the Josh Allen rub makes everything look better. The head coach, Josh Allen, supports it. Kyle Allen, QB2, I absolutely hated that signing, but whatever. That's Josh's boy. I'm sure he had plenty to do with that. Conversely, explain kind of the go-away heat and as it pertains to Brandon Beane. That's a term that you use in your piece about Brandon Beane. It's been the heat on Brandon Beane has been much, 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 much bigger than any offseason I've ever seen since he's become GM. And, of course, Sean McDermott getting fired. But explain that part of it, too.
Yeah, so go-away heat is basically, so if you're a villain in wrestling, you know, your job is to get the fans to hate you.
Yeah.
And it's called heat. And that's what it is. It's called heat. Like, you want the fans to cheer against you, it's heat. There's also go-away heat. Go-away heat is like, if you don't like this villain at all and you just want him away. You don't want to see him wrestle. You're sick of him. There's like a term called X-Pac heat, who used to be a wrestler, Sean Waltman, and there's a term like X-Pac heat where people just would go into the bathroom whenever he wrestled because they just didn't care about him. And there was this kind of like, get out of here. Like, we don't want to see you anymore, etc. Brandon Beane, and I would say to, you know, mostly him. You know, you can say Terry Pagula a little bit, but Terry Pagula's already gone. Like, we're never going to see him again.
You know, you're not going to see not a press conference unless it's a championship victory, championship.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see him on Bills in Bet. You'll see him on Bills Embedded when he's when he's walking through the new stadium, and he'll cry or something and whatever. He's all that bullshit. But Beane has, in my opinion, go away heat. Like, in terms of people are just sick of him, and I am too. Like, I don't like go away, dude. Like, we don't need to see these pictures of you and Joe Brady. Like, you look at the handle, like, it was, what was it, like a week and a half ago, it's Joe Brady and him, and it's so ironic, because they were at a Sabres game, and I was thinking about, you know, a couple years ago, like, actually it was during COVID, Tim Graham had a story on how the Bills did not want the Sabres culture to infiltrate their culture. Remember that line? Like, keep that culture away from us. And all of a sudden, it's like, Beane and Brady are trying to get the rub from the Sabres by being at the game so we can take a fucking selfie and everyone could be like, ooh, they like it. And like, you see the mentions on Twitter, like when the guys are together in a photo, it's just like, people are just like, what the hell is this? Like, it's so contrived and fake. And I think people are just like sick of him and like seeing him and just and I'll say this, like, and this is why I think this is the case. I've liked their offseason. I really, and look, I'm a Beane hater. I will admit that. I can't stand the dude. I think he's a prick. They ain't no sugarcoating it. Like, I don't like how his ideas of building a team are. Whatever. I've been fine with their trades and their signings. Like, yes, you could criticize them, like compensation, whatever. You could always do that. But I look back and maybe it's just like having like kind of mid off seasons in my opinion. Like, look at last year. Let me just compare this to last year, okay? Who do you like more, DJ Moore or Josh Palmer? Like without like player for player, without the contract.
It feels rhetorical. It feels rhetorical. Of course, it's DJ Moore.
Right. Bradley Chubb versus Joey Bosa. I like Chubb more. Yeah. I think Bosa had like 3 or 4 like mid years with the Chargers, and it was kind of like whatever. And I think Chubb's been okay. Like he had 8 sacks and like 11 sacks 2 of the last 3 years. Like I just think like some of their signs are more exciting than last year or the year before. But if you go on social media or you listen to maybe other people like WGR's been kind of like harsh on them a little bit. I understand why they're critical of it, but it's just there just seems to be this like as good as I think those signings have been. I think people are so sick of Brandon Beane. That's where he has the go away heat, where people are just like, yeah, let's scrutinize this because he's fucking annoying and all that sort of stuff. When I think this free agent trade class has been the best they've had since the Von Miller deal, and I'm serious about that because if you go back and you look at who have come in the offseason here, it hasn't been like oh my god, like it's Deontay Harris, oh my god, it's Trent Sherfield, like I don't know, like that's just kind of how I feel. Like Curtis Samuel was okay. I feel DJ Moore's a better needle mover for me, and Chubb's a better needle mover. Go ahead.
I think fans are kind of he's not getting the benefit of the doubt that he got it a couple years ago. Like it was always the Beane sunglasses thing, even for moves that weren't big. You expected them to work out. Some of them haven't. It's been pretty obvious. I reference it all the time, but that WGR thing was a petty look for him, and it led to other accusations or whatever of him being really thin-skinned, other situations that we've heard about where he's extremely thin-skinned. When you stop being less likable, and maybe, look, if the Bills had won a Super Bowl, guy would be the king of the town. I get it. Like you just mentioned earlier, winning. Winning fixes a lot of shit right now, and the Bills have won, but they haven't won the one that matters the most. I think fans are just he's not getting the benefit of the doubt right now. I don't disagree with what you're saying about this offseason, by the way, but let me say this. My biggest beef right now with Brandon Beane is the league doesn't lie. And his job of building this defense, this last iteration that we just saw, this defense was borderline shit. Because you could look at it this way, Joe. Look at all the players that were free agents right now for the Bills. Offensively, David Edwards got a big payday with the Saints. Reggie Gilliam, who Diamond Pickle was complaining that people were bitching that we lost a fullback. I was complaining that we lost a fullback. So stick that up your butt, Diamond Pickle. But anyway,
Gilliam got about the fullback. I'm with Diamond Pickle. Enough of the fullback.
Oh, you can be with Diamond Pickle, but the point is he got a big contract. He was in demand, and New England gave him a big deal. But look at the defensive side of the ball. Look at the defensive side of the ball right now. All the Bills free agents. Cam Lewis got a peanuts deal with the Bears, and A.J. Epinesa got a 1-year deal with Cleveland for a couple $1 million. Right now.
You wanted A.J. Epinesa back?
No, you're missing my point. My point is this. Cam Lewis, a small deal with the Bears. A.J. Epinesa, a small deal with the Browns. Trey White, still unsigned. Taylor Rapp, still unsigned. DaQuan Jones, still unsigned. Shaq Thompson, still unsigned. Joey Bosa, still unsigned. Larry Ogunjobi, still unsigned. All these Bills free agents last year are still out there because there's no demand. There's no market for any of these guys right now. My thing is Brandon Beane did a terrible job building this last iteration of his defense, and I think you see the evidence in the fact that all these guys are out there and nobody wants to sign any of them.
Okay, now I'm gonna counter that and say what they've been saying at the Bills, or at least they're gonna try to get that word out. Sean McDermott's defense did not follow the strengths of these guys. He was all about his system. I implore you, you know me, I don't promote anyone, but like Sal Mariano and Anna Beane had a podcast. I think it was on Friday, and Sal had an interview with Brandon Beane. And one of the things that was eye opening to me was Sal brought up Doreen Williams, and Sal's not a huge fan of his, and Brandon Beane said, quote, this is from Sal's mouth, the defense that Sean has is very complicated, and I don't think Doran was able to adjust to that in sticking up for him. That is all you need to know about what they're thinking in that building. Because if he's on the record to say that to freaking Sal Mariano, that's what they're saying. They're saying all these guys were, and I get what you're saying, like they haven't been picked up and et cetera, and maybe they won't get picked up. But I think that's what they're trying to spin. Like it was all this McDermott scheme, screwed up all my great players, all my acquisitions, all that sort of stuff. That's fair. But no, fair. That's a very good point though, in terms of none of those guys have been signed yet. But
let me pull up a comment though, Joe. Well, hold on real quick. Sure. Marino's Legacy 21. I thought this was a good comment, and it's a fair point. He said you can't judge. Oh, hold on. I got to pull it back up. He says you can't judge free agents based on a year's difference, Pat. You get paid based on what you will do, not what you have done already. That is fair. I mean, sure.
Yeah. And look, some of these guys are old, too. Like, Trey Waite's old. Matt Milano's old.
Yeah, I didn't even mention
all those guys are old. Yeah, they're all fucking old.
That's fair. I want to get back to your point, though, where you said that you think this offseason has been really good so far.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I've been satisfied with it. And again, look, I'm not this, I don't follow the league as well as I want. I'm the worst I talk shit about everyone in the content bros, and I'm probably the least qualified to talk about football sometimes. But, these are guys I've heard of. Like, Gardner Johnson excites me. I don't know if you know this, but I had this in my piece last week. Since he's been in the league, he has the 7th most interceptions in the league. Yeah. I mean, that's great. Sign me up for that. Yeah, Geno Stone had 6 interceptions. I get it. He sucked with the Bengals, but he was good with the Ravens. Is what they're saying. I don't know. I'm kind of I want to see this. Now, look, it could be a disaster. We have no idea how this Jim Leonard defense is going to be with the moving parts, the hybrid, all that crap. But I've been again, I'm telling you, one day, an off-season podcast we should do is we should go over the free agency period. Maybe next week we'll do it. We'll go over every free agency period that the Bills have had. And I'm telling you, this is more movement than a lot of them. Since the last one I could think of was the Von Miller one, where I'm these are I like these guys. Whereas before it's fucking Josh Palmer, let's ball wash him, and Curtis Samuel, and I'm why? Why am I ball washing these guys? I got 50 catches for their high for a season once. And DJ Moore's a guy who had 100 catches before. And Bradley Chubb at least had 12 sacks his rookie year. The Bills they've had one 10-sack guy in the last 9 years was Leonard Floyd. From fucking 4 years ago or whatever. So, I'm intrigued by it. Look, I get if people want to be shitting on them, but let me just say one more thing to go back to the Heat part real quick with the go away Heat. I still think but I still think there is a sentiment of bitterness towards how McDermott got fired. And I think it's like when you have a couple who break up, and it's you the kids at home and they freaking divorce, and you're still in shock. And you don't like the selfies of the dad is with the new girlfriend or whatever, and you're a kid, you're what the hell is this? And that's what we're seeing with Brady and the selfie thing. I still think people are still they haven't moved on to that bullshit yet. In terms of it should have been McDermott who stayed and being gone, or both should have been gone. And I think there's a little bit of that lingering stuff to that. Which I'll be frank, I'm a little bit surprised. I feel like it because I think they've been pretty good in free agency, but I think that's the problem. Like you said, he didn't do any favors with him in the public with how he talks, Brandon Beane.
Yeah. I want to, hold on a second. I want to pull up 2 comments here, but I got to find them now. All right. Well, Diamond Pickle, must be on a bender or something today, he said, this team needed turnover for F's sakes. No need to bring back all the same losers for the 10th year. I never suggested that they should bring back all the same losers. I said it's telling to me that the league, that 31 other teams right now, don't have any interest in signing any of these guys that are out there, which leads to the other comment, which leads to my other comment from my man Tooch. Shout out Tooch. He says, Do you want any of those guys back, Pat? I mean, you've seen what they are. At this point, sure. I think Trey White would be great to have back, and I think Shaq Thompson would be good. Why would you not want Trey
Shaq,
White?
I'll give you Shaq Thompson. I'll give you Shaq a little bit, sure. Trey, I think, is a system cornerback. I don't think he's a man. If they do man-to-man, they blitz a lot. I think you're asking for trouble. I really do. And
I don't know.
But
Metrics,
look,
I don't know, but metrics kind of suggested he played well in man coverage too. So
okay, well, I guess I'll believe the nerds. But okay, you're right. But you're right. Wouldn't they have had him go? But I've said this before. I really think they wanted to eradicate all of Sean McDermott's guys, and they couldn't wait to get rid of those guys. And they want the
I believe that
whole different, like, Trey White's a Sean McDermott guy. Like, I'm sure Brandon Beane liked him too, but whatever. But he never drafted him. It's from Doug Whaley, Manos era. But you need new blood in there. And I don't know, like, and they got a third corner. We'll see
they
what
don't
happens.
have a third corner.
I thought they do have a corner. Alfred or whatever the hell his name is.
He's Teron Johnson. He doesn't count. That's a slot guy.
It's a slot corner. It's a cornerback,
he's
dude.
a slot guy. Well, but he's a slot guy. I'm talking. They got no depth right now.
I thought he could play on the outside too.
He's good. He got signed. He got signed to take over for Teron Johnson. And on that note, let me do this. I got to take one more 5-second break on the video side, and then I'm going to tell you after the break why I don't completely agree with you saying that this was a good offseason so far. Be right back. All right, so I said
here comes the Reggie Gilliam funeral because he's gonna bitch about Reggie Gilliam.
No, there will be plenty of Reggie Gilliam funerals, but not on this week. Not this week. No Matt Collins funerals, no Reggie Gilliam funerals. Not this week anyway.
Give it 10 minutes.
I would call the free agent class right now. I agree with you in terms of upgrades. Like DJ Moore is clearly better than Palmer or Samuel. Chubb over Bosa. You can even make a case that Alfred now over Teron Johnson was starting to look washed up. I get that. The safety, certainly, absolutely. Talent-wise, that's a significant upgrade. That's probably the biggest upgrade, by the way, of all these moves right now. But it's got to be incomplete. Like, if free agency's done, this dude, have you seen? I'm going to pull it up. I stole this from Buffalo Fanatics, so I got to make sure this graphic. I got to make sure I give them a shout-out here on the show. They got a depth chart up for people who are listening. This is the current Bills defensive depth chart. And, Joe, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done right now with this defense. Look at these backups. I don't put it this way.
You and the fucking backups. I swear to God.
What are you?
Go ahead with the backups.
Don't start that shit.
Backups. They're supposed to be good.
Listen to me. Don't go down that road because it's going to be even worse than your dumb turnovers don't matter take. So
they don't matter.
If you don't think depth matters, what happened when Dane Jackson and Darnell Savage played 2 fucking snaps in the playoff game? 14 points against them. It matters. Right now, Joe, first of all, let's start with the starters. Dorian Williams, to me, is kind of iffy right now at linebacker. TJ Sanders is more than iffy right now, and he's your current starter at defensive tackle. He stunk last year. He was terrible. I know he's a rookie, and he was kind of playing out of position at times. Second-round pick? No. Right now, this team has no cornerback depth literally whatsoever. Literally none. Right now, Joe Andreessen is your most established depth player, your most established non-starting linebacker on a team where Terrell Bernard gets hurt 4 times a year. Joe Andreessen's your primary starter or backup right now. Fedarian Mathis and Dwayne Carter, that's your defensive tackle depth. That's lousy. Landon Jackson and or Javon Sullivan right now is your 4th edge rusher. That is trashy depth. I don't know how you could think that the depth doesn't matter on this defense when you look at that chart. It's awful.
Okay, well, you could take that chart and shove it up your ass because there's this thing called the draft that's going to be happening soon, which I'm sure you're going to overhype all week. You're not even going to have me on the podcast for a month. You'll have Aaron Quinn on, ball washing every defensive tackle. So, like, I get what you're saying. Like, okay, look, there are some guys there that are very look. But I'm going back to what Brandon Beane thinks. I think he thinks TJ Sanders is going to be great because he probably wanted him the most, and in a new system, he's going to be good. I'll say this. Like, yes, there are some concerns. A lot of people have, and I know we're going a little bit ahead of ourselves. Like, have edge rusher as like they need to get an edge rusher, or that's what they want. I don't think they need an edge rusher. I'm good with Rousseau. I'm good with Hoyt. I'm good with Chubb. I'm good with your boy Solomon, who I'm sure you'll overhype in fucking training camp.
I did that last year. I won't make that mistake.
You're gonna do it again this year. You can't wait to get to Pittsburgh Dairy and fucking drink ice cream with Mafia Matt.
Rich Warren the 7th.
Yeah, did I say drink ice cream, eat ice cream? I mean, I am on team. Are you ready for this? Yeah. I have a draft take on March 22nd in the year 2026. Inside linebacker. Get an inside linebacker. Because you know what? The Bills, when you go to two things. You can do a 3-4 defense. You need to have great inside linebackers. Think about like some of the best 3-4 defenses. Like, let's go with the Bills. Let's just go history. You're a historian like me, but I'll remind you. Like, you got Sam Coward when he was there in the 3-4. You think about like,
Shane
the Bills, Shane Conlon, Carlton Bailey. You think of heavy linebackers like Cornelius Bennett played in the inside a few different years. And I think of the last couple of years, the Bills have always had two linebackers that they've counted on to be good. Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, and then Edmonds left, and then Terrell Bernard became the guy, and now Matt Milano's gone. I think they should add a linebacker. And I think that's in the cards. They haven't drafted a linebacker in the first 2 rounds since fucking Tremaine Edmonds. I think that would be the best decision you can make. Like,
I think you're telegraphing that. I think you're right. I think it's being dude, they haven't signed a linebacker in free agency. Literally, they haven't signed one. They're absolutely going to draft one early.
Yeah, but to go back to your depth part, I think they are going to sign more guys. They'll probably sign guys after the draft. Like, how many guys do they always sign after the draft? Like, they signed Elijah Moore last year. I know that didn't really work out. Floyd was a guy that they signed, I think, after the draft.
Yeah, they signed him in May.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna add a bunch of guys at some point to get that depth.
Sure.
But
they don't have it
I'm
now.
Sorry, they don't have Reggie Gilliam back
I'm just saying it's incomplete because they don't have any depth right now. That's all I'm telling you. And depth does matter. Yes. Injuries happen. We've seen it a lot with the Bills. Injuries happen, and their depth is trash right now.
I'm telling you, by like the normal things they do in March, has exceeded what they normally do. And maybe that's lowering expectations or doing a what about the last 5 years, which just hasn't been that great. But I like it a little bit, and I like DJ Moore. And again, look, the more thing you could complain about it, like, would you have wanted Waddle over him? I probably would have said, yeah, I think Waddle's better than Moore. Or if you
tell Bills fans that now, you could have told them. They would have agreed with you, but not now.
I mean, Waddle's not like light years better, but he's better. I mean, come on, like
he's a little better.
He's a little better, but he's younger. That's kind of what I liked about him. He's 25, Moore's 28. I'm actually going to talk about that or write about that tomorrow when my piece drops at the Substack.
This is Tooch, DJ Reader for No Stack. I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Reader, but I'll tell you this right now. He played for a lot of teams, Lions too, Denver. Anyway, DJ Reader, you go get that guy, and I will chalk up this free agency as a huge success right now.
Maybe they will.
For sure. What is up with Diving Pickle thinking I'm like some kind of McBean guy? Who
you are?
Diving Pickle, where do you get that from? Where do you get that assumption that I'm a McBean guy? I just got fucking bashed on Twitter this weekend for being overly negative about everything. Every single day, somebody was bashing me about being too negative about this team. So
Did you read the Lance story from, not the one that just passed, but the one about that the Bills were in on Crosby, like they try to get him? Did you read? I know you were in Florida at that point.
I don't think I did.
Oh man, you probably would have done a show on that. But the Bills were in on Crosby, like they wanted Crosby. They didn't bulk at the 2 first-round picks. This was before like the Baltimore thing. So
sure, yeah.
But they couldn't wait, and that's why that's part of the reason why they did the DJ Moore trade. So they were in on Crosby. Allegedly, they were in on Crosby. I mean, they said that to them. But
I'd rather have DJ Moore and Chubb than Crosby.
Yeah,
on the Bills.
Fair.
Hold on, I'm giving them compliments right now. What's going on here? I don't get it, man. Yeah, I just think this defense has a lot of work to do, and I would not be surprised if they use their first 3 picks on all defensive guys. They need a defensive tackle. They need a legitimate, true nose
No,
tackle so
they
Deanne
need a
Walker can move around a little bit. And they need an inside linebacker, like you said, and they need
they need a
another
fat
edge rusher.
guy. Without question, like they need a fat guy. I'm fine with the edge rushers. I went over it with you. I think the edge rushers are fine. I don't think they need another guy. Like we're good. I think they're good. I think they need a fat guy who is like 500 pounds, like two of you, Pat. And like a linebacker, like But again, here's the thing. How big of an impact is that rookie gonna be? That's $1,000 question.
It could be different with Leonard because he might play quicker. As McDermott's
He might be quicker, but
notorious.
it's one thing to play. It's one thing to play, but it's another thing to be an impact guy, and that's the problem with the Bills. Like over the last, 8-9 years, like rookies don't make that big of an impact. So some of them have, who's the best rookie that they've had, like since 2020 that has come in and played well as a rookie, like Walker, Rousseau.
Probably maybe Deanne Walker.
Yeah, as I said, Walker, Rousseau, Singletary was pretty good as a rookie.
Kincaid had a really good rookie year, but then he was the last solid, couple of years he had like a top 5 all-time tight end receiving rookie
but
season.
The Bills tight ends are fucking terrible. Benford was good as a rookie, so he was good. I mean, he started. But it's not like, look, if they get someone who's good right away, then great. But it is going to be tough to count on that. But that's why I'm like, linebackers feels like to me a position that, I don't know. I think about Sam Cowart when he was a rookie, he was awesome. And Kiko Alonso as a rookie was awesome. And guys who were rookie linebackers who came in. Edmonds was pretty good. Matt Milano was great as a rookie. So that's why I'm in the rookie linebacker. Get a stud. Get your fucking Luke Kuechly or whoever the new defense. Bart Scott, if we're talking
let me ask you this question as we wind this down. Right now, they're going to sign players. They're going to draft players. They're not done. This is not the week 1 roster that we're looking at right now. That said, how do you feel about this Bills roster or this Bills organization right now? I'm not sure how I feel about this team right now. I think there's a lot of question marks on this team. I think they got a lot. I think the offense is going to be solid. I think that's set. But I think there's a lot of questions on defense, and I think it's fair to ask questions about the coaching. You got a first-time head coach, and you got a first-time, we're all ball washing Jim Leonard, and I've loved Jim Leonard. I've been ball washing him since from the get-go, but he's never called the defense before. It's in the NFL. There's no guarantee that he's going to be great, that he's the next Spags. There's a lot of question marks on this team right now when I look at it.
No,
how do you feel?
Absolutely. There's definitely question marks. I understand if someone is being negative or not thrilled about it. I get that. I think I'm okay with what they've done. And I know there's going to be more parts for them to do. And look, as long as you have Josh Allen, you can roll out of bed with 10 wins, 10, 11 wins in a season. That's the bottom line. But yes, you're questioning with the coaching. Absolutely. They are bringing in a completely different defense, a different philosophy, a different formation. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with, with them adjusting to a 3-4. I don't know what's going to happen. Your Kadar Muhammad, he says we need an edge rush. I don't know why do we need an edge rusher?
He's got to get to the quarterback more. Chubb's the only guy who's ever even hit. Greg Rizzo's never had double-digit sacks in his career.
No, but that's what they're saying. They're trying to say that the defense is going to. But what are you going to do? You have Rousseau, you have Chubb, and then you have Hoyt. Who else are you going to? You can't play 6 people on the edge. That's it. What do you want to do? You don't have anything else you could do. If you want to get another defensive end, if Ed Oliver's your end or your defensive tackle, I don't fucking know. Sure, that's fine. But if you're talking outside linebacker edge, and that's what I'm talking about, there's 2 of them.
They need another guy. I'm not saying that they need a Max Crosby or that they necessarily need to use a first-round pick on an edge rusher, but they need a guy. I'll say this, too.
But where's the edge rusher going to play? Where are you going to have him?
He's going to play plenty. Greg Rizzo and Chubb aren't playing every snap. Not going to play
So
every
you're gonna
snap.
okay.
Michael Hoyt's coming off a
Yes,
major
we're going
injury.
back to the 10 instead of the 10 defensive line rotation of doing
Yeah,
things.
that's exactly what you got to have. It
Can't
worked for
wait.
Seattle.
Can't
It
wait.
worked with Philly. Guys who get after in waves, not one specific guy. But anyway, when I talk about the biggest questions that I have with this team right now, Greg Rizzo, we got to see him play that role effectively. We don't know. Ed Oliver, is he still a top tier player? I'm a little concerned about the injuries from last year. They bet big on Terrell Bernard. You could tell their actions speak louder than words. They did not sign a linebacker. Terrell Bernard, they're betting big that he bounces back, and he was hurt all the time and not good last year. Max Earson, right now, he's definitely your starter. He's a first round pick a year ago. Is he going to make a big leap in year two? I don't know. Gardner Johnson, I know you're ball washing him up the ass, and you love that signing. I like it because he's a playmaker, but dude, there's a reason why Houston cut him after 3 games last year.
Hey, yo, he's a head case. I can't deny
world-class
that.
defense. Exactly. Philadelphia had enough of his shit once, too, and even though they saw how good he is, so, he's been a great playmaker, but he's also been a big problem at times, too. It's a risk. It's a risk.
You talk to any Eagles fan, they will tell you how much they love Gardner Johnson. They loved him, like, when he was there. But, yeah, you're right. I mean,
he's fun. I hope it works. It could work. So how about Tim Graham here to wrap up the show? Because he's kind of been in battle mode right now. Talking about questions, he's just, I don't know. Fans are calling him negative, negative Nancy and shit like that. Let me read a quote from Tim. He said, "Nobody says this roster stinks. The team hasn't been good enough to reach a Super Bowl, let alone win it since Allen arrived. I simply don't believe a coaching change to somebody who's never done it before will now magically unlock all doors by itself." It's a quote from Tim Graham recently. The fan, he's been going at it with fan. He's not sold on this team, and I think it's fair to not be sold on this team. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. If you are, that's fine. But I also think it's fair to say, you know what? I'm not sold on this team being anything more than a 10-win team that makes the playoffs at most.
I wonder if he'd feel differently if they had fired Beane and McDermott and brought in their own guys. Like, let's just say they brought in Kubiak and a different GM. Mm-hmm. Like, and maybe, because, like, again, I think these moves have been pretty okay. Like, good. B+, I would say. But
it sounds to me like Tim's biggest beef was Joe Brady getting the job. Like, it just felt you want change, but you're going to give it to Joe Brady.
Yeah, no. Look, there are some bullshit, like, they want a CEO and Joe Brady calls the plays. How the fuck are you a CEO if you're calling the fucking plays? It doesn't make any sense. It is bullshit. Look, I am not here to say that Brandon Beane wanted Joe Brady, okay? Because he wants to be the guy, the grand poobah who's going to run at everything. And I think he knows that he can control Joe Brady because he couldn't control Sean McDermott. Sean was a dick too. They both were dicks. It was a big fucking dick fest. And I think he probably wants Brady because he's going to be able to control him. And that's the case. It's funny. I was watching the Elway on Friday night. Me and my one friend, we were watching the Elway documentary on Netflix.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought it was solid. Like, he wasn't like, but I've talked about this before. The Dan Reeves, Shanahan, Elway triangle, where they got rid of freaking Dan Reeves, who they went to a Super Bowl a bunch of times, but Elway hated him and couldn't deal with him anymore. And then Shanahan comes in there, and then, like, what? I think it was the second year, I want to say, that they won a Super Bowl with Shanahan. And Shanahan, I think, was only a head coach for, like, 1 year with Oakland, like a random team or whatever. Al Davis fired him really quickly. But, it just reminded me a little bit of that. Like, if you wanted to put the rose-colored glasses on and think, like, this couldn't work out, that's your evidence. Like, if you want to use historical jargon of, like, the Denver with Dan Reeves, they always kept pushing. And, yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl 3 times, so that's a difference, obviously. But it fell apart. The quarterback, and there's obvious in this way. I would say Elway is like Brandon Beane, not Josh Allen. When he hated the head coach, and I think Brandon Beane and the head coach didn't like each other anymore. So that's one way to look at it. Because who the fuck was Mike Shanahan at that point? Actually, Shanahan I think he was, you know what? I take that back. He was the OC for San Fran when they won the Super Bowl. So it's not completely like that. But there are parts of me that kind of wonders if that's a little bit of a parallel to that. But Look, I get it. I understand. Like fucking Joe Brady's not sexy at all, and I'm sick of him and his no shorts, and I'm sick or his shorts only, and all that sort of. But
High
you know what?
energy, hardest worker in the building, up
Yeah, all
there,
that shit.
all
They
that
said the
stuff. We're
same
seeing
shit.
it already. That's the narrative, which is great. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. He's going to bring new energy to the team, and maybe that does matter. By the way, your Elway thing. I know it wasn't a review of the documentary. You were talking about a specific point. I thought that documentary was very soft, very told from his point of view only. It wasn't objective enough. It wasn't like he was a dickhead in a lot of ways. The whole refusing to go to play for the Colts thing, the whole getting Reeves fired thing, like it was very one-sided, is all I'm saying, the documentary. But anyway,
I thought the stuff about him and his family was good, like
Sure.
very candid.
Yeah,
like, that's
but
what I thought.
like
Little
them,
bit. But
like,
I understand what you mean.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, one thing I've noticed originally with Brandon Beane, which was obvious, and you've said this many times, it kind of feels like he was being everything's getting blamed on Sean McDermott. Like all the failures are Sean McDermott's fault, right? Well, I'm going to tell you honestly, I'm starting to notice that from the fans too. I'm starting to notice that fans want to, maybe they think this defense is going to be better just because McDermott's gone, and it's easy to blame Sean McDermott for everything. And I'm not saying Sean McDermott should have stayed. That's not what I'm saying. But he's getting blamed for everything. And this is a good comment. I thought Joe Brady coached circles around Jacksonville and Denver with the turnovers. I agree about that. I've said that. I thought Joe Brady was excellent in the playoffs. I'm going to give you a take that a lot of people don't like. I also thought Sean McDermott coached circles around both Jacksonville and Denver. Everyone points to that 3rd and 11 play with like 3 minutes left where they only rushed 4. Cole Bishop's was at fault on that play. Just so it's out there, man. I thought Sean McDermott did a good job in that game. But anyway, it was his time. And we'll see if the change goes. But yeah, I don't know right now how I feel about this team. I don't. You got anything left?
What moves me more is players, getting good players. That will make me more happy about them. Sorry about the choke up.
You getting emotional thinking about the players?
Yeah, I guess so. Hold on.
Do I got to put you on? Actually, fuck that. I want people to watch you choking on live TV right now. Joe got emotional thinking about the players and how much they meant. Did the bear go down the wrong pipe? The bear go down the wrong pipe?
What the fuck happened? I'm losing my voice. That's what happened. I haven't talked in 2 weeks. So anyway, go ahead, talk.
No, I was going to say if you had anything else left, because I think we've covered everything that we need to with this show. I really don't have much more to say for this. The Sabres, by the way.
Some guy said I look fat in the chat. I have gained water weight. I don't know who that asshole is, but I want him banned. Some asshole earlier. I don't know. Some guy, some paisan last name. I want that guy banned from this fucking chat forever.
That's funny. Diamond Pickle said, Pat, don't hate me so much. I love you, dude. I've been here since Stone Bucks was pissing his pants on here.
Wait, Tom Buck's pissed on the air?
No, that's hyperbole. But he says I was just under a different name. And no, I got nothing but love for you, Diamond Pickle. I'm just having some fun busting your balls too as well. No, he didn't piss his pants on here. That never happened. But he was definitely drunk on here a handful of times. He'll be the first to tell you that. I want to know who said the funny shit about you though, because I want to give that guy some love.
No, we're not. I banned him already.
It looks like you gained some water weight, Joe.
Yeah, what the fuck, bro?
I was on a diet.
I've lost some weight, motherfuckers. Okay.
I was on a diet for 8 weeks and then threw it all away in Florida, man. I was at Wawa, fucking I had like 4 chocolate milkshakes from Wawa, Culver's, Zaxby's, lots of beer. And I've continued the bad habits back home here. So tomorrow I got to get back on that. All right, you got anything else? Are we good?
I'll be dropping my Substack tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be a Monday, so most people will actually wake up and it'll be available, right?
Yes. My God, I'm choking up a stump. It's over.
You're getting emotional about your Substack now. All
right. Tomorrow I'm talking about the goalie situation with the Sabres for the playoffs. I talk about the Bills and the Buffalo News and how the Bills gave the Buffalo News like an exclusive to talk to Beane and Brady, but no one else. What else?
Kind of weird. Shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it.
People are going to be able to wake up and read it anyway.
Well, no, it's not because I'm not. I have to wait because my one hockey piece. I have to wait till tonight's ends so I can add stats to it. But I might wait till tomorrow morning. So, no, I'll do a little bit. Sure, what the hell? I mean, you got some time. Hope I don't. Really, if I lose my voice, though, we're done. No, it was just weird. I was waiting for like a victory press conference, like through one Bills. Like the Bills.com site of everyone being like, Brandon Beane comes out with Joe Brady and like, these are the players we signed, like victory or whatever. Like they usually do that. They didn't do that this year, which is kind of weird. And instead they gave an exclusive to all of the Buffalo News Bills people to interview Brady and to interview Beane exclusively. So like stuff that you saw like that has been dropping has been from an interview from like 5-6 days ago. Like Lance Laskowski had a piece yesterday about like what's happened since Joe Brady got hired. That shit's from like that call from like or that meeting from 6 days ago basically. But they didn't meet with anyone else. And I just thought that was kind of weird that you don't invite the Athletic or you don't do anything else like that. It's just them. It's I don't want to. It feels like some politics are going on right now. And look, who knows? Maybe they'll bring fucking Mafia Matt. Will have Beane on his podcast before the draft and they'll make it up to him, or Always Game Day in Sal's house will have fucking Brady on or whatever. We never know. So it's just one of those things I thought was very interesting, and I'm gonna write about it tomorrow, and you can jerk off to it or not read it. I don't care.
Jesus Christ. Pat Connie did say water weight is the weight you put on during the weekend. You look good, Joe. Don't surrender. Don't ball wash, Joe. Patrick Conti, 1501. Stop ball washing Joe from Queens. James Rowan, Hoyt, hot take, Hoyt second team All-Pro next year. That's a sizzly take there.
Dude, you've been ball washing Hoyt for years already, it feels like.
I love Michael Hoyt, man.
We need to, next week, I'm going to unveil the top 10 ball washing players in Pat Moran history. I know what they are. We're gonna do it next week. Fuck you, we're doing it. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna be like, these are on the top 10 ball washing Pat Moran. It's
I'm trying to think on the fly. Ones I would admit to. Michael Hoyt, I would admit to. I would admit to Matt Collins.
Daryl Talley.
Definitely Daryl Talley. Reggie Gilliam's probably up there now.
Matt Collins.
Yes.
Matt
Marino, Jay Skursky.
Well, no, we're just doing athletes. I mean, the media, that would take like an hour for me to go through.
It would take an hour for me to go through all that.
At least like 2 years, maybe. We'd have to have a 5-part miniseries. Art Wander's on there. Fucking Jim Brinson, probably. Bob Kaczynski. No, but like that. I'm going to make the ball washing player awards for Pat. Like, I got to think back. Justin Rogers is on there.
I'm looking here. Sabres are down as we're recording this. 10 minutes left. They're down 4-3. They were down 4-2. Quinn scored early in the third. About 10 minutes left.
Let's wrap this up so I can at least watch the end of the game.
We're going to wrap. And there it is, the Matt Collins funeral. Of course, I couldn't go a whole show without it. Yeah, we're going to put a pin on this for today. I'm going to be back. Like, scheduled production is back to normal. I'm back in Buffalo, and I'm not going anywhere else anytime soon.
Do you have anyone on this week that's cool? Anyone at all? I mean, I feel like you got to steal some hockey people. Like,
well, I definitely. Steve Bermel's going to definitely do a show with me this week. Good hockey guy, man. Rich Warren, the 7th, will be on Wednesday. Yeah, I haven't had him on in a couple weeks. He's been really busy. And then, like I said, I was in Florida. Buy one, get one free ball wash. Robert Leader, 73. 68. Ralph Wilson Sr. The News didn't have the otherwise reported meeting where McDermott criticized the roster, so they don't have the sources and are safe. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm not quite sure how this week's going to play out. But anyway, I'm back. I'm going to get some new gear if I ever do go on the road again because that shit fucking sucked. Dude, just an hour episode, complete waste because it never recorded. I was so pissed. And it was on St. Patrick's night. It was on St. Patrick's Day night, and a few friends of mine went out, and I didn't go out because I was loyal to my listeners of this show and wanted to make sure I got a podcast in. And fucking, it didn't end up mattering. Whatever, though. But
I'm sorry, buddy. All right, but yes, my piece is going to drop by the time you people listen to it. Maybe I'll drop it tonight. I got to see.
You'd
what
say that
happens
every
with-
week, and then you end up dropping it at 11:30 at night anyway.
Well, I have to see. There's stats I have to put up on my Sabres piece, and I'm waiting for this fucking game to end so I can put it up there. So
They just tied it 4-4.
Oh, you see, I missed it for you to bullshit about your fucking podcast. Hurry up, let's get out of here.
Owen Power just scored, and the Sabres game is now tied at 4-4. I was hoping to stay. I'm going to be honest with you, and then we're going to get off the air here. I was hoping to keep you on long enough to watch you choke one more time.
No,
that was the goal. I was hoping you
think.
would get into something and that you would start choking again. Because it was kind of fun to do.
I need to get out of my fucking sweater. I'm hot. These fucking lights are blazing. This is what happens when you have all that water weight. You start sweating.
Joe, would you wash Beane's Pro V1s? That's a golf ball.
Pro V1s? I don't know anything about
that's
golf.
The title is golf ball. He's saying you ball wash Brandon Beane's golf balls.
Fuck the golf. I'm fucking sick of that shit.
Yo, new fans here. If you want some good content, just wait till golf season gets around in Buffalo, and you start seeing the media bros. Once they hit the links, Joe's gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna have fun with the golf. You're gonna have fun with the Bills Celebrity Cruise in May. You're gonna have a lot of fun with all that content that gets dropped.
Can't wait for Golf Geary, Salfie, Mafia Matt, Bailbag Jay. Those golf photos are gonna be flying. I can't wait. My God, I'm gonna have to wear looser pants. I'm gonna be so excited.
Someone call.
Can we go now? Can we go?
Now guys are saying that I have a turkey neck on the air. That's fucked up, but it's not.
It's not wrong. Everyone next podcast, we're gonna have everyone insult us in the chat, and we'll read all the comments. We'll just have people insult us about Wade.
I'll tell you what, if they
Pat looks like Erwin R. Scheitzer, all that sort of shit.
If you listen to an hour and 21 minutes of this show, you deserve to be able to insult us. I had over 1,000 on the live, which, by the way, on a Sunday night with the Sabres playing right now.
Imagine if we waited until 10:30 to do this, and I'm gonna miss this game because of you.
Probably.
Exactly. Anyways.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Brand new show coming right back at you tomorrow. Talk to you then.